Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told how to voice radio, so today I am showing you a brand new Alolan Raichu card, which is coming out in Sun and Moon 4 Crimson Invasion in November. Now, we knew that there was going to be a new Alolan Raichu card coming out. A bit of a lie. We suspected there was going to be, because we know that there's a Pikachu coming out in Sun and Moon 4. That was revealed. I featured that in a news video a little while ago. Now we know we are getting our first main set Alolan Raichu. We did get this promo Alolan Raichu, which is actually being re-released. It's not good. It does, however, mean still no Alolan Raichu GX. And those people that were suggesting we might get a Psychic type Alolan Raichu, owing to the fact that it is Psychic Electric in the game, unfortunately not, but still, new Raichu, and everybody loves Raichu. Now, starting off with the basics here, it does have 110 HP, which is kind of low, but to be honest, it's better than the Generations Raichu, and it's in line with the other Raichu we got recently in Burning Shadows. It has a retreat cost of 2, but as we're going to see, it's kind of irrelevant. The weakness to fighting is a bit of a pain with Marshadow running around and Gallade seeing play, although having said that, Gallade will get a one-hit KO without the weakness. Resistance to metal is always good, but then again, maybe it's not that relevant, because the main attacker at the moment, really, metal type, is Metagross, who's going to get an easy one-hit KO anyway, although maybe it can stand up a little bit better against the new Registeel. And there are a whole bunch of other Raichu with which he can be combined. We'll look at that at the end, although quick shout out, couple of people need to have some big thank yous here. I was sent this on Twitter by a lovely one of my Twitter followers. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter at the Wassy. It was sent to me to Robert R at MindsEye89 and very quickly translated by my good friend David Hockman, so thank you very much, guys. Now, the ability here says that if there is a stadium card in play, Raichu has no retreat cost, which initially sounds good. And one thing I love about this, since I've been playing more and more of the video game, and I did just upload a video about the second place Worlds team, so check that out. I think I've done some good VGC content and will continue to do so. Please check it out. But in the video game, Alolan Raichu has the Surge Surfer ability, which is very much his signature ability that gives him, well, it doubles his speed in electric terrain. So free retreat, if there's a stadium in play, I kinda like this, it kinda fits. But the Raichu from X and Y, which was reprinted in Generations, just had free retreat. So there is a little bit of annoyance here that, alright, fair enough, but it could have just had free retreat anyway. There are a couple of other Raichu that we do need to look at. We will mention them at the end. As a nice side note here, this is Alolan Raichu. So you could play 4 of the Generations Raichu, and you could play 4 of this Alolan Raichu because they have different names. Of course, they both evolve from Pikachu, because there is no Alolan Pikachu, and therefore you could play 4 of each. But it would be a little bit silly considering you can only play 4 regular Pikachu. So I love the free retreat here, and let's face it, in the modern Pokemon trading card game, there's basically always a stadium in play. I mean, some decks don't so much. I mean, Vikavolt Bulu doesn't tend to play a stadium, but it's very, very rare to see that. Now, if you're the only one playing a stadium, your opponent can use Field Blower to get rid of it, but more often than not here, you can probably rely on having free retreat with Alolan Raichu, and free retreat is good. But we've got plenty of free retreating Pokemon. What's the attack like? It's alright. Free colourless energy, 70 damage, 20 more for each energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. It's one of these that punishes your opponent for attaching energy. Now, we've got plenty of these, from Yveltal through to Oranguru and Espeon and Gardevoir. This is not a particularly rare effect of an attack, ladies and gentlemen. It really does come around quite often. And it's quite good. It will punish these Pokemon. So if your opponent's got 2 energy attached, you're doing 110 for free energy, which is kind of standard at the moment. But if your opponent's got 3 energy attached, you're doing 130 for free energy. And so on and so forth. As a fun little side note, the attack is called Psychic, so it is playing on the fact that it is a Psychic type, but given that you're not hitting for Psychic typing or using Psychic energy, it might as well be called basically anything. Still a fun little nod to his Psychic typing here. Now, I don't love the attack cost of 3. Now, of course, being a lightning Pokemon, we've got plenty of options. Of course, you can just use double colourless, because it is colourless energy. You could use Max Elixir, but you'd have to use it onto a Pikachu. Don't forget, in Shining Legends, we are getting a Raichu, and Raiku's got the same attack as Yveltal, whereby you do some damage and attach a lightning energy from your discard. Maybe to a Alolan Raichu, for instance. And this one's a little bit of a push, but you could even use Electrode here, given that Electrode can just get going. And, of course, you are giving up a prize when you do that, and it becomes a special energy. And as much as Enhanced Hammer's a bit of a pain for decks that are relying on special energy, maybe the bigger issue at the moment is Drampa. 1 energy, 20 damage, discard a special energy. It really is one of those attacks that can slow you down if you are overly reliant on special energy. And if you're giving up a prize to get that special energy and then it gets discarded, ladies and gentlemen, that is very much the definition of bad news bears. So, the ability's alright, but it's basically free retreat, although I say it's basically free retreat. Although Hex Maniac is being rotated out, Garbodor is not. So if your opponent plays this, then you don't have free retreat anymore. Bit of a pain. I do like the attack. The attack is pretty good, but it does take a while to get up to big damage. One of the most annoying things here is you're not really hitting anything for weakness. Now, if Yveltal comes around, you'll be hitting a great weakness on Yveltal. That'll be nice. If Mega Rayquaza wasn't being rotated out, you'd be getting a nice one-hit KO on that with weakness, but it is, so you're not. But one of the things I love about Alolan Raichu is that you've now got a whole bunch of options. You have, of course, got the Raichu that was reprinted in Generations with this really good Circle Circuit attack, 20 damage times a number of your benched Pokemon. Could be quite good, generally taps out at 100 now that we've lost Skyfield, so you know what, this other Raichu does maybe more damage. And you can combine them a little bit. Use a Generations Raichu if you've got a nice bench, and then go to this Raichu if your opponent starts piling energy on. Of course, you will notice the big difference here is that the Generations Raichu attacks for a double colourless energy, whereas this new Alolan Raichu attacks for free colourless energy. Although, that's actually quite nice, because this does now give you, albeit a stage 1, it gives you a tech lightning attacker that could be put into any deck whatsoever. If you've ever got a deck now where you need a lightning type attacker to go and pop in your deck, Alolan Raichu's got yo back, which is always handy. Don't forget, of course, there was a new Raichu that came out in Burning Shadows that just automatically paralyzes when you evolve up. Although, I mean, I did a video about this. I'll try and remember to pop a link in the description. But one of the things you've got to remember about this Raichu is that you evolve and you paralyze them. But if you attack, they can use Acerola. And if you don't attack, then you've kind of wasted paralysis. So Acerola makes the Burning Shadows Raichu an awful lot less effective than it might otherwise be. But of course, we are also getting Raichu GX, which will be coming out in Shining Legends. Now, it must be pointed out, of course, that this Raichu GX is weak to fighting, and that gives you all of the downsides of, you know, the fighting weakness I mentioned earlier. However, for free energy, it does 160. This is quite nice. For a double colourless energy, it does 20 damage for each lightning energy attached to all of your Pokemon in play, plus 20 base damage. This is a really nice attacker. So maybe this new Raichu can be a good non-GX attacker in that deck. I'm going to be honest, it's not the best Raichu. Probably not as good as the Generations one. Probably not as good as the GX, but it only gives up one prize. Probably better than the Burning Shadows one, to be honest. I like it. I don't love it. But I love that we're finally getting Alolan Raichu. Of course, we still don't have Alolan Marowak or Alolan Executor, but I suppose we'll have to worry about that another time. Though it is worth pointing out, this is the first Alolan Pokemon we've had that evolves from a regular Pokemon. So far, we've had Alolan Muck, we've had Alolan Ninetales, we've had Alolan Golem, we've had Alolan Dugtrio, and we've had Alolan Sandslash, all of whom evolve from their Alolan counterparts, whereas Alolan Raichu, Alolan Executor, and Alolan Marowak, they evolve from regular Cubone, regular Pikachu, regular Execute. Maybe this is now opening the door, and if nothing else, we now have confirmation that they will just evolve from their regular Pokemon, which is quite nice, because Alolan Vulpix has to evolve into Alolan Ninetales, whereas Pikachu can evolve into Raichu or Alolan Raichu. Either way, I'm going to be giving this between 2 and 3 Wassies. It's almost a good tech. But, and there is a huge but here, if we ever have a situation where a lightning weak Pokemon is taking over the metagame, bear him in mind, because he will then be a great tech that can be put in any deck whatsoever. But I want to know, ladies and gentlemen, what you think about him, so let me know in the comment section. Go nuts, be nice. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at The Wassy, and Twitch at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. In fact, we're going to be streaming some PTCGO at 7 PM UK time tonight, so get involved. You can also, if you want to support the podcasts, check out patreon.com/PTCGRadio. It's not just the podcast, of course. You can support the YouTube channel there as well. There are bonus pods. Go get them. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.